Hey, what's going on, guys? I got a little, not a knife review here, but a sharpener review. This is my Wicked Edge sharpening system, and I'm going to sharpen a knife on this video, so hopefully it won't take too long. Usually on average it takes me about 10 to maybe 15 minutes to sharpen a knife. I'm going to be sharpening up this Jake Hoback knife today. Just to show kind of the versatility of the Wicked Edge. This has a recurve on it as well as a very large belly here. I was cutting down some boxes the other day, really thick cardboard boxes, and as I was dragging it down, I kind of went into the cement on my driveway, and so this part here, it still cuts through paper, and so it's still somewhat sharp. But you can see how it gets caught in this curve and then kind of starts tearing. The recurve part is still relatively sharp based on last time I sharpened it. This is S35VN as well, so it'll give you a bit of a feel. I'm not going to use Aus 8. You can sharpen Aus 8 on like a rock and it's going to be fine, but some of these harder steels are just a little more difficult to sharpen, so I'm just going to show you again just how well the Wicked Edge sharpens. And how it sharpens actually. I use this little bitty foam piece so it doesn't scratch up my blade, and I put it on here just so when I clamp it down in this system it doesn't scratch up my blade or anything like that. So the way the Wicked Edge works here, you got this little measurement stick here, and you can kind of just measure along how far you want the point of the blade to sit. So for this particular one I have it on B, and then I have it set at the first hole setting right here. So there's two holes here, so you can measure how high you want the blade to sit in the clamp. And then finally you have angle measurements here where you want the paddles to rub against the bevel on this blade. So I have it set at B, and then you take your little hex key right here and you tighten the clamp down. So B on the first holes on the clamp, you set it in place. It's very easy to get in, and then you tighten down this one right here. I'm going to be using right now this knife, the way it came sharpened was at 28 degrees, so 56 degrees inclusive. That's pretty wide bevel. I could bring it in, but then I don't want the secondary bevel on here to be too steep. Even though it might cut better, I kind of like to keep the, not factory, since this is a custom, but whatever Jake originally put on here. I don't like having too many facets on my bevel, so I try to keep it where it was normally. I've got this is the quartz base on my Wicked Edge, and you kind of saw that on my collections knife video that I had made a while back. I'm going to be going through 5 different paddles. I got my 100 200s here, I got my 400 600s, my 800 1000s right here, and then I got my ceramics right here, and then I'm going to strop them. I don't actually use the micron strops, so I just strop it with the leather and it works plenty fine. So I'm just going to start with the 100s here, and you're going to see how the paddles go against this recurve. And then I don't know if this view is actually good. Maybe I should turn it a little bit like this so you can kind of see how that works out. So alright, here we go. So starting with 100s. And I really want to just work this curve back in here. So So you can already see the bevel, the burr being formed on here, so it's already catching onto my fingernails. So even on this curve right here and on the recurve and everywhere, it's already catching on my finger. And you can see, you know, the diamond stone is really, you know, it's very coarse. And so, you know, if I were to zoom in here, hopefully you can see the focus and see how, you know, how much it cuts into this bevel right here. I'll cut myself here. Yeah, so it cuts really far into the blade. So I'll just widen out this angle here and then try to keep the, you can just see the process of the stones cutting into this edge here. So after you kind of get the bevel in, then you kind of just make a couple passes. I always pass this way. You can pass this way if you want to, but I find this way to be faster, or fast enough for me, and then it puts a very even edge. It really works the bevel, and you see it's like perfectly even all the way around the recurve, all the way to the tip. So it's pretty. I think this system is awesome. You know, sometimes you need to kind of tighten down the pivots for the, you know, where these paddles pivot around so you can rotate it. Yeah, so it's got a really nice burr, or not even a burr. The edge is perfect on there right now. Typically I just wipe it down with a little napkin or whatever, and then I just move to the next, next test with the 200 grit diamond stones. It's really convenient. You just flip it over and you're ready to go. And you start feeling, you know, it get easier and easier to move the diamond stones across the edge. Just make sure that the burr or the edge is still there on both sides on your fingernails, and then after a while just move to the next stone. Work that curve a little bit more. That edge right there could probably work a little bit more. Good. Alright, so then I just move to my 400s. You can do it pretty fast, actually, you know. Sometimes if the belly is too deep, you know, you have to kind of work the diamond stones around a little bit, kind of just tilt it a little bit so you can get a little bit more bite at the edge. But on these recurves, it's totally fine here. So, yeah, it's decent. Alright. Then move with the 600s. So at about 600 grit, I think you can start seeing, you know, the polish and the lines starting to form a little bit better. I think 600 is about where you'd see most factory edges sharpened at, whether it's belt sharpened or whatnot. And you get some of those lines that you see. Typically, you know, once you start sharpening up to higher grits, especially up to the 1600, then you start really getting that polished, finished finish in the edge, in the secondary bevel here. So they say at this, you know, up to 600 is where the standard kit from Wicked Edge comes. This is what it comes with. I have the kind of little higher than Pro kit. With the Coarse base here, so I keep going. But at 600 you should be able to already cut paper pretty well and all that kind of stuff. But we're just going to keep polishing all the way up to the strops, minus the micron paste or the diamond paste. So this is at 800 now. So you get these with the Pro kit, and you can feel like it's barely even like grinding into the blade now. It's very fine diamond stones here. Yeah, so now you're really just refining and honing that edge. You can see that edge really taking up a polish already at 800 grits. We'll move to 1000. Some people circle it, you know, I've seen videos on YouTube where they circle it like this, and that's totally fine. You can do whatever you want. The pivots, you know, these paddles are so smooth as you rotate them, so you can really do whatever you want as you sharpen it. When the knife always stays in place, it's not, you know, it's very controlled. You don't have all this variable movement like on a, you know, sharp maker where you're, you know, whether you're cutting vertically or not, stuff like that. So that's 1000. Now we're going to go into our ceramics. Hopefully this video is not going to get too long, but I'm already hitting 14 minutes right here. But you can see how fast it is. Now this is 1200 ceramic stones. And this really starts putting the polish into the edge here. That's 1600. And you see how beautiful that polished edge is now. So that's, that's it, man. That's 1600 grit, or not grit, but ceramic. You can see that polished edge, just how crazy that is, and how easy that is. So I'm just gonna finish it up with some strops really quick, and then see how it cuts into the paper. Hopefully I don't look like an idiot and it doesn't cut through. Sometimes it does that, and I don't quite get the edge where I really want it to be. But right now it looks like it's pretty good. So normally you put a diamond paste on these strops, and for the strops you always go forward like this so you don't cut into the strops. So I make about 40 passes with the strops. It's pretty quick and painless. I've been pretty successful, sharpening with this thing. I was pretty hit or miss when I was using the Spyderco Sharp Maker. I've never used an Edge Pro. I almost thought about buying an Edge Pro just to compare, but figured if I'm already succeeding with this, why worry? The Edge Pro, you still have some variables, whether you're holding the knife straight and all that kind of stuff. So, alright, so I think that's about enough. So again, this is 28 degrees inclusive. I'm sorry, 56 degrees inclusive, 28 on each side. Very even bevel here. Alright, so let's see how it works out on here. You just take this hex wrench again, or hex key, and you loosen it. And then you loosen the top here. Pull it out, with that foam, so you don't really get any marks on the blade. And just wipe it down really quick from any of the shavings. Alright, let's test it out here. Well, that sucked. It's doing pretty well though. Sometimes on the paper, there you go. So it's working pretty well at 56 degrees. I mean, you figure that's a pretty thick bevel, and it's cutting really well, through this paper here. The curve, yeah, it's totally fine. I think because the belly is so steep here, on this Jake Hoback, it tends to kind of just curve up here when it's cutting through the paper. But you can make some pretty fine cuts here. Those curly cues. If you can do those curly cues, it's really sharp. So, I just have to wipe down the blade a little bit. Yeah, so that's pretty sharp. That was easily within 15 minutes or so. I did mostly talking in the beginning. So anyway, yeah. And then you can also tell I sanded down the Hoback knife, so I got rid of the anodization, or at least most of it. So I like it a lot much better, or like it a lot better than when I had the anodization on here. So anyway, that's my Wicked Edge. Yeah, I think it's probably one of the best sharpeners out there. Manual sharpeners, not a belt sharpener. So, alright man, hope you guys enjoyed this video and learn a little bit more about the Wicked Edge. Alright, you guys take care. Bye.